On today's episode, I have the privilege of having a Google insider. I'm not going to do this because he actually was a real Google insider, somebody that knows a lot about how the god of the internet works. And he's my very good friend, which now lives in Hong Kong, but he's from the US, my friend Simon Leung. Simon, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Ernesto. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, great. You know, I'm always fascinated about all the stories that you have about your time with Google and all the things that that are happening right now. You're really up to date with all the crazy things that Google is doing and how they are affecting all the businesses in the world. So, can you, well, just very briefly give us a little bit of background of what you're doing right now, and also a little bit of your story in Google?
Wow, a little bit, huh? I can go all day on
this. Just try to reduce a huge story in about 1 minute.
Well, basically, my background is at Google, as you mentioned. I started working at Google back in 2002 in the Google advertising department, which is called Google AdWords. And I helped them really from the ground up build the optimization team, the agency team. So I'm really involved in terms of developing all the strategies and managing the high-end clients. I decided to leave Google and start working for myself as an internet entrepreneur in August of 2006. And that was because, you know, there were just so many different things in terms of opportunities, in terms of what I felt like, you know, the corporate lifestyle was not for me, and internet entrepreneurship, you know, going around traveling the world, t-shirts and jeans, sometimes shorts, you know, it was just more of a lifestyle for me. So that was the path that I chose and never looked back since. You know, started off really working from home, doing the whole internet marketing thing from home, and then later on really expanded into building different companies across the world. We have a team of 100 people out in China just for outsourcing clients for SEO and search engine marketing, things like that. My partner actually focuses on that most of the time. What I mostly focus on now is going around and really traveling and speaking at seminars and doing my own workshops. Within the last year, traveled across 15 countries, probably about 200 dates, you know, so you know, it is a pretty adventurous type career path that I chose for my business, but at the same time very much enjoying it because, you know, I get to meet people like you, get to, you know, come speak at events here in the UAE with you, and meet a lot of fellow speakers and great attendees as well, so having a blast.
Fantastic. You were talking about the corporate world being too different, but from what I understand, the Googleplex is very, very chilled and relaxed. Is that true?
That is very true in terms of the culture itself. However, I'll probably say, you know, over the course of the years, things have been changing a lot. I mean, you see during my presentations pictures with me, you know, with all these different parties, all these different ski trips, Christmas parties, in t-shirts and shorts. And that was basically the Google culture. You know, they wanted to be bubbly, they wanted to be fun, and that was what it was. At the end of the day, however, it was a corporate environment. We were a client-facing department. We had clients come in every single day for client meetings. We were also traveling for those client meetings all across America as well at the time. So we couldn't actually go into those meetings wearing t-shirts and shorts. You know, it was more corporate, it was more polished. So I would probably say, you know, I was just a little bit too spoiled for my own good. You know, I started working at Google, and that was the culture. The whole company was that culture. And then later on, we kind of evolved into, you know, more corporate, more professional, and, you know, I'm just too spoiled.
Just give us some cool tips of what people need to do on their website and off their websites to actually get their websites optimized.
Sure. The first thing that you absolutely must do is you need to know what keywords you're going to be optimizing for. Because what many people make the mistake of doing is they're trying to optimize for everything under the sun that's related to their particular page. You know, if they're a traveling page, they want to have you know, keywords related to flights, related to hotels, related to flight attendants, and, you know, all these travel accessories. You know, and all these things just aren't relevant. And what we actually recommend is per page, if possible, optimize for anywhere between 1 to 3 keywords. Look into the title tags, the meta descriptions, and make sure that everything is optimized on page. And this is actually not something that, you know, you need to learn from me just because it's standard search engine optimization training that anybody can teach. The off-page stuff, on the other hand, is something that is a little bit more, I would probably say, proprietary in terms of what you can do to revolutionize and distinguish yourself from many of your competitors. And that is basically the use of Google properties. When Google is looking for what we're calling backlinks, you know, if you don't know what a backlink is, it basically means, let's say I'm a web page and we had, you know, 500 attendees. Let's just say that we are all websites. If all 500 attendees stand up and point at me, that is considered a backlink. Well, in addition to just regular backlinks, there's also something called authority backlinks, which basically is in the eyes of Google. They want to see other people who might be relevant or also high in authority point back at you. So for example, those 500 backlinks from those 500 attendees pointing at me, standing up and saying, hey, I'm the internet marketing or Google marketing expert, they're not going to stand a chance against somebody like Ernesto, for example, who is very well known already in the industry, and he stands up and he points at me and he says he is the Google expert. So when Google looks at things like that, they want to see things that are high in authority. And for Google, Google is Google's number one fan. You know, they like themselves the most. So when you think about how you can leverage yourself and have a high authority website point back at you, it's just as easy as creating a lot of Google property accounts, like Blogger, owned by Google, YouTube, owned by Google, Google Profiles, owned by Google, Google Sites, owned by Google. You know, so basically what you're going to do is you're going to figure out what Google considers to be high authority, including the Google properties. Go ahead and create different links for that and then point it back to your own website using the keyword that you want to optimize for. That's probably one of the very big things that many people are not using today because they're not so much aware of it. They're still using, you know, a lot of the social media, social networking, Web 2.0 sites, which work to a certain extent, but in terms of high authority, not all of them are high in authority. And for Google, Google.com is just top of the top in the food chain, you know, when it comes to authority sites.
Just give us some really quick pointers on PPC,
Sure.
pay-per-click, Google AdWords. What is the best way, what are the elements that for a very beginner to start advertising and being successful on Google AdWords? Because now it's very, very expensive, the clicks, but I know
Sure.
that there's ways in how you can actually reduce the cost.
Right. When it comes to pay-per-click, just like when it comes to anything else that Google puts their hands on, you know, it all comes down to user experience and relevancy. So when you want to have the best possible AdWords campaign, a lot of people, you know, very similar to search engine optimization, they try to find every keyword under the sun, and then they put them all into the same campaign, into what they call the same ad group and things like that. Just like SEO, you know, you really want to be super targeted. For Google, they have an ad, and you know, those are the sponsored listings. If you don't know what it is, go to google.com, do a search. The listings on the top and on the right hand side, those are called the Google AdWords sponsored listings. So what you want to do is, because those ads are so small, it only gives you 95 characters of space, right? So the first line is about 25 characters long. You don't have to fill it up if you don't want to, but it gives you that much space. The remaining two lines are 35 characters. What you want to do is you want to make those ads, the text on those ads, as relevant as possible. Now obviously there's a second component to that, which is keywords. So when you're optimizing for a certain page, let's just say a UAE event, or you know, or an event in Dubai, you want a keyword like Dubai seminar or Dubai seminars, which is really, really targeted, and you don't want to have too many variations of it. You can have Dubai seminar, Dubai internet marketing seminar, Dubai internet seminar, and put those all in the same ad group. So in the ad text, you can then put Dubai internet marketing seminar. That gives you enough room, right? So you want to be as targeted as possible, but obviously you want different variations to get more exposure. So you want like maybe Abu Dhabi Internet Marketing Seminar, or Internet Marketing Event, Internet Marketing Workshop. Those should all be separated out into different ad groups so that you can actually put those keywords, absolutely, you know, the foremost important keywords, Internet Marketing Seminar Dubai, right? You want them all within the ad text. And for different ads, you can have different words, you know, that are basically accommodating for whatever your keywords are.
Where can the audience can actually find out more about you?
Connect with me on social media. You can go to my website, simonleung.com, SIMONLEUNG.com. That's also my username for Facebook and Twitter, so facebook.com/Simon Leung, twitter.com/Simon Leung. Look forward to connecting with all of you.
Fantastic. Simon, thank you for being here on the show. And now it's time that we go for Triple Your Internet Intelligence.